When black people do great things, stop accrediting it to Allah. Stop accrediting it to Yahweh Shai. Stop accrediting it to God. Stop accrediting it to Jesus. Black people do great things with or without any of those guys, any of those deities.
If you're teaching out of this book that was given to you by your slave master, then you are part of the problem.
You was telling me about what it's like being a Hebrew Israelite, or just from your experiences of it. Tell me more about it.
Well, my experience of it, you know, first of all, they taught me a lot.
Okay.
Coming in there. And a lot of things that I was feeling inside, I got to have an understanding why I was feeling these things. Whereas a lot of times people don't talk about these things.
Okay.
Oftentimes you hear when people start speaking truth, people run away from truth. And something gravitated to my spirit all the time, like, why is it that people submerge truth? What's the real big deal about truth? Does that mean truth means you have to change your ways? That you have to recognize that what you are used to doing and you are conditioned to do every day may not be right.
Okay.
And you have to change your life because ultimately you're gonna die. Now some people might feel you're gonna die from something. You understand? So live my life. You got one life to live, live. You ain't got one life to live. Our minds are supposed to be thinking about graduating, like you in school and you graduating from high school and you going to college.
Right.
Well, let's think about what's going on, Ty? Everything all right? Good mixologist right here.
Right.
What's going on?
So.
All right. You know, we're covering some spirituality too.
Right.
And as I think here being on earth now, I think in terms of not just this life we're living right now.
Okay.
I'm thinking beyond. So when I said to you, I'm kind of phasing out of hip hop, it's because God has spared a certain time in my life. I'm a man of a certain age now, and He gave me a chance to be able to see what life is really all about after this life. And I think my foundations came from being with the Hebrew Israelites. As I always say, hip hop is a vehicle and a tool that I've used. And like I said, I'll have to be mindful how I use hip hop and how God has used me to do things, because today I'm not knocking this generation, but they use hip hop to do filth with it. I'm not gonna say all, because a lot of great stuff is not being pushed. It's all that negativity with these hip hop reality shows, all this foolishness. People are disrespecting themselves, bringing cameras into their home. Who is telling them that it's okay to bring your stuff that goes on in privacy, or filth that goes on in privacy, to bring it onto national TV, to say you're gonna be rewarded for doing good? But the good thing about that, when God comes to judge you, everything is recorded. What you did, you can't lie. See, if it's not being recorded, you can always say, I forgot, I don't know, nobody didn't see it. Millions of people see this.
So you saying God is going to come back to earth, or how does that work? How is He going to come
God
back?
is in He's in every one of us.
Okay.
God is everywhere.
Okay.
As I said, God has no uncles, aunts, nieces, nephews, cousins, nieces, fathers. God is the infinite. God is God. Whether people choose not to believe it. The crazy thing about it is not crazy. Satan believes in God, atheists don't.
Satan believes in God, atheists don't. Right.
Exactly.
So let me tell you, man, this is real talk. If men come back, because God has given us so many vehicles to come back to Him.
Okay.
We sometimes think because suffering, a born baby, let's say a baby is 3 years old, walks out the street, gets hit by a car. or get stabbed to death. Unfortunately, I gotta come real hard like this. We go, if there's a God, why he allow that to happen? And people start turning to God. Why you allow that to happen, Lord? If you were God, why you just didn't stop this?
Right.
First of all, you don't know if that child died in serious, excruciating pain. Only God knows that. But certain things has to happen from some people on the side to be able to see and understand that suffering brings us closer to the Lord.
Okay.
That's where that saying comes in, everything happens for a reason. And there's a reasoning behind what God does. You know?
Does God have a name? What's God's name?
God, he's the infinite. He's eternal. He's the Most High God. God has many, many names, but it all equals. He's the magnificent one. He's the ultimate. You can't run from God. You can't hide from him. You can't take a vacation and get out of town. He's everywhere. And Jonah, he told Jonah to do something.
All right.
Remember, he wound up being in the belly of a whale.
Right.
He was inside. God was with him then. There's so many instances that the Bible makes it very clear that God is here. And you know what? He loves you. No matter how much you think he don't love you, because you wondering the conditions that you living in. You wondering why you sick. You wondering why your girl left you. You wondering why your man left you. You wondering why all these things are happening. He's telling you, turn to me. It's not that difficult. Take steps.
Was Jesus a God? Was he God? What was Jesus?
I said Jesus is God. People don't understand that. It's different names. It's like if you say his name is mixologist Tyrone. What's up, Al? How you? And you say they call him Ty. He's still all the same person, whether he's mixed, whether he's Thai, you know. It's like God comes in different. In order for our minds to really understand, he has to break things down to us. He came to us in the flesh so we could identify him. It's like if I told you I had $1 million, you're gonna say, yeah, right. But if I take you to the bank and I show you the $1 million in your face, you're gonna say, oh, you see it. But why couldn't you believe what I said to you? If you take a remote control and you turn the TV channel from the remote control, do you see what's in between the remote to the TV that's allowing that TV to turn? All you know is radio waves that is turning that channel. But I try to use that as an elementary level to describe that God exists. You can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't feel it. You just know when you push that button, that mechanism triggers something in that TV and it churns.
I want to ask you, what would you say to the new movement? There's a lot of black people around the country, and they're actually trying to say to throw away the Bible because the Bible is a Caucasian invention to entrap our minds.
So religion has no basis today, and all the books you're given have no basis in freeing you. In fact, all books from religions, from the three major religions, are meant to incarcerate your mind. And that goes for Islam as well as practiced. It goes to Judaism or Israelites as practiced.
So what do we say to that?
I would say this. Now, if anybody else want to chime in on this, I would say, again, I'm not a Bible scholar.
Right.
But I will say from day one, the European has always taken something and fabricated it. Or try to duplicate it.
Right.
It's always been. So we know better. God just gave us the foundation to understand that no matter what you try to steal, you try to take away, you try to bend the truth, just like the Apocryphas, the hidden books from the Bible. There were certain books that was in there that was taken out purposely. But when you put the puzzle together and you understand what this is all about, then you start becoming spiritual. Now, once that light start going off, that's Christ showing you that light inside of him. He's showing you truth. Now, do you want to accept it or you not? This is not about an emotional roller coaster. This is spiritual, man. This is real.
Okay.
God gives you the baseline, and what happens with that baseline, everybody took it in different nationalities and created their own interpretation of that baseline. Okay, so in a significant way, everybody has their own interpretation. So there's so many different religions right now, such as Scientology, and you go into Hebrewism, and you go into Christianity, and you have Muslims, and you have different forms of Muslims who have the Quran, which that's their interpretation of the baseline, and that's where it's coming. Now you got good Muslims, you got bad Muslims.
Right.
You got good Christians, you got bad Christians. But then that resort into the form where he had his disciples, and they had, what's his name? What they call him, Judas?
Judas. Oh yeah.
You understand?
Right.
Judas was there.
Okay.
And that's, he said to his disciples, take care of my people, free my people, and do these things for them, and watch out for them. Before Jesus Christ left this earth. Before he ascended, if you recall.
Are you alluding to Judas Iscariot that betrayed Jesus?
Yes.
That's who you.
Yes.
Right.
I want to know, how do we bring it all together? How do we, because all this denomination, how do we bring it all together? If it's one God.
You can't. It's all one God.
Right.
And just like you have something different, you may not like the coat I'm wearing, and you may not like what he's wearing, but what you have on, we may like that.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? It's a difference, because this is what he likes to wear, and this is what I like to wear, and that's what you like to wear. So we have our own preference and choice as to what we want to accept in our lives.
Okay.
So that's going to be the choice that we make. It's not us saying that we have to follow one individual thing.
Okay.
Because first of all, we here, as God give us the baseline, we still don't know the truth. Only thing we're taking from that is just the baseline and what's been formulated. Because if you look at the Bible, there are so many different versions of the Bible. The King James version of Christianity. Then you got the Pentecostal version. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And it goes on down the line. Everybody got their own version.
Right.
So which one of the versions are true? And who's to determine which one is true?
I think if we keep things,
But we try to govern our life based on the baseline.
I think if we keep things very simple, basic.
Okay.
Oftentimes people think simplicity is so difficult. You already know that if you see an old lady walking across the street,
Right.
and you knock her down, you take her pocketbook and you beat her down and you rape her. At some point, do you think that's just normal? Your spirit knows that was wrong.
Right.
Yeah, you know it. I don't care how you go out and have a drink and try to forget about it or whatever. It's wrong. He gives us basic principles. Now, there are people who want to purposely take the Bible and try to create confusement amongst people, because some people profit from that. Listen, Satan is not going to walk around and show you he's Satan. His job is to deceive you. His job is to make you look good, might dress fly, may articulate very well, so he could be thrown off. You could be thrown off as to what his motive is. But God sees all that.
Let's tell the true purpose of Satan. Let's tell the true purpose of that. That true purpose of Satanism is to take you off your path, to take you to the wrong direction, to take you into the negativity of life.
Right.
That's the purpose of Satanism. God put him here to give you a choice. And that choice is your decision as to where you want to go and what you want to do. But God is the Almighty. God is much more powerful than Satan.
That's right. And as a matter of fact, Satan was God's most powerful angel.
Right.
He was cast out of heaven, and his descendants, the rest of the angels that followed along with him, that no longer wanted to listen to God anymore. They wanted to be God. So he was called Lucifer in the beginning. Now, as he ascended into earth, he's called Satan. But God loved Lucifer at one time.
Exactly.
You understand? This is how, and the thing about it, Satan, which we know today, knows this. He knows God exists. As I said before, Satan knows God exists, but the atheists don't believe.
Right. Right.
That's how serious this is.
Right.
And that's why he keeps using deception. So, again, to reiterate this, the whole point of this, because people will watch this, some people will get influenced by this interview, some people rebel and they just saying whatever they want to say. It's not for me to try to force this down nobody's throat or push this on anybody. It's simply saying that you turn to Jesus. He loves you no matter what circumstances that you're going through. Oftentimes people run away from this because they don't want to deal with responsibility. They don't want to deal with truth. They have a tendency to think that, God is just going to simply just here with iron fist ready to judge. But we all got our demons. We all got our weaknesses. But who do you think keeps that in check? We can't do it alone. We need Jesus to do it.
Exactly.
If we don't have his spirit on us, we will all spaz out.
I want to do something where I can have the other side of it, because you got a lot of black people, especially nowadays, who are saying that's an all made up story, that the power is within us, that Jesus is a made up figure. He never even existed. They saying they can't find the bones of none of the prophets and none of that stuff. They never existed. They say it's a made up story to enslave us.
If you're teaching out of this book, you are performing an academic treachery to our children, man. This shit is fake. Everything in here is fake. Nothing in here is real. None of the events in here ever happened. Jesus doesn't exist. Moses doesn't exist. And when you feed your child that information, it causes a dilemma.
It ain't nothing up there, man. So cut that shit out, man. Y'all keep thinking it's some invisible man up there and he watching you and all that other shit. And that's what's got black people so fucked up, because they sitting and waiting on the same Jesus that Kunta Kinte was waiting on. And if Jesus is so bad, how come he couldn't save himself? So how the hell is he gonna save me? That's what and it's the same bullshit. The same bullshit has been perpetuated for years and years and years. And if you tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth. So Kunta Kinte waited for the same Jesus to save him that black people waiting for today. Ain't shit coming to save you, man. You gotta save your goddamn self and stop waiting for the sky to crack open and Jesus to come get you.
And see, with that being said, what you just said, that all just goes back to those who simply against truth. You got some they can't stand to hear truth, because truth is in battle with deceit and Satan. So there's a common opposition, if you will, between the forces of righteousness and the forces of unrighteousness, in which they can't stand to be each other in harmony. Righteousness won't allow you to be in harmony with unrighteousness because of the core opposition, the core nature of opposition. And so that, with that being said, you have those who continuously propagate lies and deception, and that's going to always be here. But what it boils down to, the bottom line, is the individual have a common inherent belief. Without that inherent belief, that innate inherent belief that dwells within an individual, like Clyde said, in which he instinctively know the difference between right and wrong, without them core belief and not being a slave to money, you're gonna have those that veer off the right path and go down the path of temptation, and many succumb to temptation and find a difficulty coming back to the truth. But it all centers around a core belief of knowing the difference between right and wrong, and having an inherent, innate belief within yourself that there's a God. And without that,
So
your spirit's gonna struggle.
So you saying there is a God, and that the God of the Bible is the true God?
Absolutely. There's no doubt. You got those, like you said, the atheists and other denominations that who is their core agenda in life to deceive, to make you doubt. And with that, propagating that false, fictitious lie and making you doubt, then with that, they'll have a chance to capture your mind and have you believe what they want you to believe. I still marvel to this day when you got certain denominations can actually make a man, to make an individual strap on a bomb and go send him to do a mission. And yet, to this very day, that capturing of the mind exists, where some take advantage of others' naiveness and vulnerability and gullibility, and then they can make him, use them to their purpose. And then you'll have them in situations where you have a grown man who knows the difference between right and wrong, propagate and fill a person's mind with the hate and the motivation to actually strap on a bomb and go cause chaos and mayhem. I always marveled at the profound ability of an individual to capture another person's mind and have them strap on a bomb and say, yo, go in there and press that button and you're gonna go into paradise and live a righteous lifestyle with so many different wives if you do as we tell you to do. But that's just one example of how one individual who knows right from wrong can capture another person's mind and use them to their very advantage.